All right, grab a pen, grab your scorecard. You should have it printed out by now. This is probably the most serious headline I've ever used for a workshop or masterclass, like ever. And this is going to be a good one. So make sure to close out Facebook, make sure to close out any distractions, put your phone away, and pay attention. We're going to talk real talk for the next, let's say 30, 40 minutes. I have no idea. I tend to ramble on about things that I get very passionate about, and this is one of those topics. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Katia Sarmiento. I am the founder of reachandmakemillions.com and the 7-Figure Freedom Accelerator, which provides support for 6-figure service-based businesses run by high-achieving CEOs. And we teach how to systemize and scale for more freedom, profit, and peace of mind. And this talk, stop sacrificing, I can't even say this, I'm so amped up already. Stop sacrificing your freedom and prevent the death of your business with sustainable systems. This is what I'm all about. Now, I have a couple of questions for you, and I really want you to pause and think about this. And lucky for you, you can pause this video and think about it. But do you believe that you have a sustainable business? And do you actually know what sustainability means? Because my intention for this class is to clear up any misconceptions that you have about sustainability, because there are a lot of miseducations or misguidances in the industry right now. And I want to show you why your business could fall apart right now and what to do about it. And I want to teach you how to future-proof and scale your business without sacrificing your time or freedom to do so. These are really, really big promises. And I know that most of these like webinars or whatever don't really deliver on this, but this is not a webinar. I have nothing to sell you at the end of this. I just want to see you succeed. And who am I to say all of this? Who am I to even want to see you succeed? And this is a point where I'm supposed to tell you all of these impressive things about me, about how I started Bots for Business with Scott Oldford, and we grew it to 6 figures in less than 90 days, and then sold it 5 months later to Andrew Warner. Woo, names. And then consulted for companies like more names, Traffic and Funnels, Mastery Mode, 8Loop. I still consult for a couple of them. You know, Inc., Entrepreneur on Fire, Mixergy, Thinkific. Woo! Yeah, okay. Here's what's really important. And here's what you really, really need to know about me and why I do what I do and why I'm so passionate about this work. It's my mission, and my mission is to eradicate burnout in the online entrepreneurship space. And we will talk about these photos in a minute, but it's been so clear to me that my mission is to help accelerate 100 7-figure online businesses by prioritizing sustainability and freedom. And I'm going to do that by the year 2040. So if you guys want to save that and save it on your calendar and hold me accountable, you can do that. But here's the catch. I'm not going to only focus on building sustainable businesses. I'm going to focus on building sustainable lifestyles as well. And if you know me, if you know me personally, you know my entire life is systemized, automated, or delegated in some way. Here's that list on the right-hand side of this post went like crazy on my Instagram and my Facebook. People were like, oh my God, I want to do all this. Yes, I have a chef that cooks amazing meals for me based off of my diet. We'll talk about that in a bit too. I have face masks, makeup, toothbrushes, shavers, hair products, everything on a monthly subscription, including underwear, which by the way, those Star Wars underwear from MeUndies, totally awesome. And why should you care? Cool, Kat, like you have a chef. How fancy, must be nice. Yeah, I've noticed that we've become so accustomed to building our lives around our business, with the business coming first. And I am here to change that as part of my mission. I believe it's time to build our business around our lifestyle. And this is how we truly create freedom. Freedom to spend time with family and friends. You can see my mom on the right and my biz besties, Avery, Rachel, Maya, I love you guys, and a few of other friends that I've made. I did a talk with JR, Austin, everyone there, and then some of my clients in the bottom left-hand side after we did an escape game. It was so much fun. And freedom to travel. I'm about to go to London to do this talk. You guys actually get this online, but I'm actually doing this talk in person on stage in London. And like, I think it's important that we have the freedom to enjoy the pieces of life that we love, and it's going to look different for everybody. So for example, for me, this is the top image, the view from my apartment. And this is my dream apartment, floor to ceiling windows, corner unit, beautiful sunset and sunrise views. Traveling was also a big priority to me. My boyfriend is a huge priority on top of my family. We love to play video games and watch anime and stuff like that. And this is all a part of my life and my lifestyle. And this is what's important to me. And I want to make sure that we prioritize what is important to each of us and build a very successful business on top of that. And so speaking of watching anime with my boyfriend, I want to tell you a story. And this is a story about a company called Rooster Teeth. You can go on YouTube really quick right now and look them up, but then close it out because you can go down the rabbit hole of YouTube as well. But one day in this company, there was an employee. His name was Monty, and he came up with a really cool concept called Ruby, as you see on the right-hand side. And at first, they were working, Monty and the team were working on other projects, and he wanted to see this concept to life. And so they were like, all right, finish your current project and then you could do whatever you want. And so he finished and he started a couple of trailers for Ruby, and people went crazy over it. Everyone fell in love with it. And so Rooster Teeth decided to fund this project and go forward with it. And so every single day, Monty worked on Ruby with the Rooster Teeth team. And they published a couple of volumes, volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. They were so good. By the way, I'm a huge fan of this, of this anime or show, whatever you want to call it. And it was a huge success. Fans loved it. And you could see in the bottom the YouTube thumbnails for volume 1. But unfortunately, one day, after 3 volumes of working on Ruby, Monty had a medical procedure, and during this medical procedure, it was totally routine medical procedure, he had an allergic reaction and died after falling into a coma. And oh my God, it was so sad. It was so sad because this genius, in my opinion, was taken from us very quickly. And because of that, Rooster Teeth wasn't sure if Ruby would continue because he was the visionary. He was the one that wrote the story, came up with the concept, came up with the idea, animated the majority of it. Luckily, they did know what the vision and the story was, so they did continue the series after, grieving the loss of a good friend and colleague. But they couldn't really replicate Monty's animation style, especially for fights in the show. Now, if you look at these images, this is volume 1 on the left, and this is volume 5 on the right. And Monty passed away in volume 3. This looks like a huge improvement, right? The art looks amazing. It looks fantastic. But Ruby got way more criticism and backlash online after volume 3, after Monty passed away. And it was just a bunch of complaints about the animation and the fighting and all that stuff. Even though it was looking like it was improving, it looked like it was getting better. And I couldn't explain it better than this person. And you can scroll through forums upon forums of feedback ranging from volume 3 and 4 and 5, and now volume 6 just finished yesterday, actually. But what they wrote here was the sadder reason as to why volumes 4's fights are lacking, and this is the fault of the Ruby crew 100%, was the reliance on Monty alone for the fight scenes. I have no doubt in my mind that Monty did 90% of the fight scenes in Ruby while participating in the other 10%. While this was alright in the beginning, since Monty was a genius in animation, this also meant that the Ruby crew became reliant on him solely for this department, which means that the moment he died, all that was left in the fight scene department was a handful of animators who never did anything but help out. Now that Monty's gone, the pressure is bearing down on them and they're struggling to cope when they should have been more active in this department. And I like this is just a show, like a free show online. And this was just a comment of somebody in one of the forums, which was full of complaints about the series and about the animation. And it's taken Rooster Teeth 3 years to respond to this criticism and get back to the original roots of RWBY and to get back to the level of where RWBY was before Monty passed away. And like this commenter said, like Monty could have taught the team, but they never anticipated him dying. Like who thinks of that? Like like when you're in the moment, yeah, this is like pretty morbid and a little bit of extreme, but like when you're in the moment, you don't really think about these things, and you don't really think like, are you building something that will last beyond your years, right? So we could also talk about things that are more likely to happen. So I've grabbed a few examples of what I've seen in the past year. This is a person that experienced Hurricane Irma, and they lost their home and their office. Well, not lost their home, but like lost their office, and it seems like their house was not repaired, and their business fell apart because of it, and they got very stressed and burnt out. That is a lot to deal with. I had family in the area, I had colleagues in the area. I saw a lot of people lose their homes and offices and just possessions to this, and I've seen businesses fall because of this hurricane as well. And on the bottom, he says, I took too much work at once and I don't have room in the budget to bring on someone to finish off the jobs. So now he's on a hamster wheel. Same thing, the bottom right corner, I had a couple of bad hires last year that put me in a hole. I'm nearly bankrupt and back to a one-person show. That happens. You go to hire people, you think you've hired some good team members to help you, and it ends up not being the case. I've seen team members steal IP from companies. I've seen team members steal clients. I've seen team members just drop the ball entirely and lose clients. I've seen worst case scenarios because this is what I do, and I'm the one that comes in to clean this up. But it's not pretty. Here's another example. This example is a company that took on too many client projects and they couldn't manage it. I blurred out the entire screenshot because this photo on the left, it kind of turned into mob mentality. This is one of their clients went on Facebook and complained about this company. And then 531 comments later, there is a mob of people, of clients that are complaining and agreeing that this company, the quality of their work tanked and they were late for delivering or didn't deliver at all and didn't refund. It was really bad. And so as you could see, I zoomed in on some comments. I've heard nothing but bad things about her turnaround time. Her quality has gone downhill from what people told me. And then this other post, January 17th, is actually in a mastermind that I'm in, which is how I found this mob post. She was experiencing the delay of services, and so she was asking us what she should email to this company, and she wrote in the bottom, I understand you have a massive amount of work and projects happening and that you have also had a scaling issue. I am being compassionate and holding the space that I understand, but I also paid for a service that is not being delivered, so please understand that this is frustrating. Clients should not be telling companies that they have a scaling issue and that they need to deliver a service on time, okay? But this happens all the time. And it's so easy to get into this hole because, and we'll talk more in depth about this, but you start taking on more clients than you can handle, and you're like, wow, all the cash is coming in, so I can grow my business, I can hire a team, I can set up systems or whatever, but they end up not. And then they end up taking too many clients, and then this happens, which is not fun. So do you know what the common theme with all of these examples are or is? Take a minute to think about this, because the common thread is lack of sustainability. And I'm going to give you one more example. And this goes back to those images that you saw in the beginning. I got really sick a couple of years ago because I moved into an apartment and it had mold. and I didn't know it had mold, and I lived there for a year. I basically worked there too, so it wasn't really good. And to tell you the extent of it, like my boyfriend, who was very, very healthy before, developed severe sleep apnea, where the doctors were telling him he was going to need surgery, he was going to need a CPAP machine for the rest of his life, and that it was just, there was nothing he could do. And when we moved out, he went back and got retested, and it was 0 sleep apnea. 0. You don't normally develop sleep apnea, like choking in the middle of the night, like not being able to breathe out of nowhere, right? And so this mold was very serious, and we did a mold test, and it was serious. We're in the process of suing that apartment complex because they have been harming multiple people for years, and they're getting away with it. So I'm going to do something about it, but that's the side point. I got really sick. I would get hospitalized almost like once a month with swelling. Look at that. That's not a normal looking hand. And it hurt so bad. I couldn't even move my hand. I couldn't use my hands. They were so swollen and red, and my face was swollen. My throat would swell up, and I couldn't breathe. I would have to be rushed to the hospital to get a steroid shot in my butt, which was not fun, but it would ease the swelling and let me breathe again. It was serious. And my business didn't suffer. It actually continued to grow, even though I couldn't show up most days, most months actually. It started getting worse towards the end of the year as I lived there. And I want to show you how I did that. But first, let's clear up a few misconceptions that have confused and prevented so many entrepreneurs from setting up their business to be sustainable like mine was during this mold sickness. And let's start with what sustainability actually means, because I've been throwing this word around and people throw this word around, but no one really knows what it means. And so, sustainability, the ability to be maintained at a certain rate or level. This is on Google. You could do define sustainability and you'll find this. In the examples I showed you, they were not able to maintain the level they were at in their business. Most entrepreneurs have their business fall apart and their revenue tank, and they find themselves back at square one. And what's so frustrating to me is that all of this is preventable. This is so preventable. I just want to scream because I want, and this is why I'm doing this. This is why this is so important, and this is why I'm doing this, because since I've been doing this is I think I started in 2012, and after thousands of hours put into client work and research and teaching this topic, I've found that businesses fall apart for one main reason, and it's the inability to scale. And now scaling a business is a popular term that's been used incorrectly, and so let's clear up another misconception: the difference between growth and scale. Now, what most people are talking about is growth, the process of increasing in physical size. And in context for business, that is revenue, clients, leads, whatever you want to grow, right? We're usually so focused on that we forget about scale. And now people are teaching how to scale your business. But do they even know what scale means? And so to be scalable is, a business whose size, performance, or number of users or clients can be increased on demand without a penalty in cost or functionality. And so what this means, and you could just ask yourself one question: do you have the ability or capacity to handle the growth of your business? Or what about this? If I gave you 40 clients right now, what would you do? Could you provide a high quality, reliable service to those 40 clients today? What about 60? What about 80 clients? What about even 100 clients? If you got them all today and you had to provide the service today, would you be able to? And could you continue to provide a high quality, reliable service to all of those clients every single day, whether or not you show up to perform each day? If you can't answer those questions, then your business is not scalable or sustainable right now. And I have seen so many businesses fall apart from too much growth. I don't care. I don't care who is teaching how to scale a business. They are most likely teaching you another marketing or sales tactic or strategy on how to get more clients, how to get more leads, how to get more growth, how to grow your business, which is great if you're having a growth problem, if you're having a hard time getting more clients, getting more revenue, getting more leads. That is all good. But if you're here, you probably don't have a growth problem, you have a scale problem. And the previous examples that I gave you, those are just a few of many that I hear about each month. If you focus solely on growth, you will fail. Guaranteed. And failure can look many different ways. It can look like the hurricane, and then the office and the home. It can look like clients just creating a mob against you, shaming your company publicly. It can mean shutting down your business and getting a job. It could mean having to fire all of your team members. It can mean letting clients down. It can mean letting yourself down. But if you focus on growth and scale together, you can build a sustainable business. So how do we do this? First, we need to figure out where you're at. And let me just state this like really clearly, because this is a pet peeve of mine. If somebody comes to you saying they know exactly what you need to do to scale your business and they didn't spend any time finding out where you're at, run the other way. Okay? So right now together, we're going to rate your business using the framework I've developed for my own clients. And so you should have the scorecard printed out or opened up. And so let's first establish where you're at in the freedom ladder. And I'll exit out of the PowerPoint slides in a second and walk you through this. But this is my freedom ladder, and this is how I determine where people are at in these phases of business. And so if you're just starting out, you're probably in the first start, you freshly started a business, and your main focus is validating your offer. If this is you, this is probably not the best class for you, but you can learn a lot of what is coming next, right? And so you've probably made zero monies, zero clients, and so you need to figure out what you're going to sell, who you're going to sell it to, and then validate that, right? So once you've done that, you're in ramp up, and so you're getting consistent revenue coming in, and you've validated your offer, you have a few clients, you have a few testimonials and case studies, you're experiencing some good momentum. Now you need to get out of the hamster wheel of time for dollars and establish a clear business model. No, I had the definition of business model before, but I'll probably add that in somewhere, like in the notes for you. But basically, you need to establish a clear business model. You can actually Google business model, because I think a lot of people are not clear of what this is. I don't know it right off the top of my head. But once you've done this, you've moved up to exponential, and so you've gotten a clear picture of what your vision and mission is for the business, and you've started building team, you've started building leveraged offers that doesn't require exchanging time for dollars, and you might be starting diversified income streams, right? Once you've gotten a solid foundation of this, you move up to expand, and you have a solid team, you have a solid structure, and now you need to remove yourself from the day-to-day and build a culture through leadership and team development. And so the team's going to be running the show. The business model and the structures are going to be running the show, not you, because you're not going to be in the inner workings, the day-to-day stuff of your business. You're going to be working on growing on the business versus in the business, right? And then when you hit domination, you are at 7 figures consistently. And that is a whole other game that I'm not going to go into right here, right now. If you're at that level, you could also hop off this presentation, because you need some more one-on-one support and not a masterclass. But these phases, these are just the common phases that I see in the online business space. And so get the scorecard and map out where you're at. Look, I'm going to do this with you guys. So this is the first page, this is the second page. And so for those of you that like to doodle, you can doodle right now. You can doodle, let's say you're an exponential, and draw some like money signs flying around, or team members, or whatever you want. Or you could just color it in. I like to color like all of these, because you've essentially already passed these levels, and it's kind of like a thermometer going up, a ladder going up to 7 figures. Or you could put check marks, whatever you want, but plot where you are currently here, and then pause, because we're not going to do next steps or these questions. We're actually going to go to the next one, and let me just pull up my presentation again. So now let's talk about the scale framework. You will go up this ladder by continually improving these 5 areas of business. And so it's systems, clients, acquisition, leverage, and environment. And I gave a couple of examples here. I usually start at systems because it's the easiest for me. I like it. But most of my clients need to start in clients and client fulfillment because they're booked out and they're maxed out with clients, and they need to set up some systems and processes and structure around that. So that's where they create clear client onboarding and fulfillment processes. Consistent client results need to be tracked and measured and guaranteed, right? And by the way, I can list off hundreds of different systems and processes and action steps in each of these sections. So that's why it's important to map yourself, to plot yourself on the freedom ladder, because depending on what phase or level you're at, you're going to be taking very different action steps. Especially because you might be in, let's say, exponential, but your business is still at ramp up, and so you need to catch it up. And I am coming out with a scalability assessment where you can answer some questions and it will plot where you should be versus where you are. And it'll give you more specific action steps, because if I were to sit here and try to tell you everything, it would be like 5-10 hours. That's what I do with my clients every week. So it takes months to do this work. This is not overnight process. So I will give you the scalability assessment when it's published, but you can start wherever you want in this. I usually start with systems, documented processes and SOPs, using tools and tech at their full potential, move on to client fulfillment, and then acquisition. So this might look like automated lead gen and sales, having OKRs, objectives and key results set, and KPIs, key performance indicators set and hit by the team that is managing, let's say, Facebook ads or social media or sales, whatever it is. And then we move on to leverage, which is having org charts with roles and responsibilities established, continual lead team and leadership development, and then environment, so healthy habits and fulfilling relationships and self-care and intentional time off. And so these are the 5 areas you need to focus on: systems, tools, technology; client fulfillment, making sure you have a high quality, reliable service; acquisition, making sure that you're getting consistent leads and sales; leverage, making sure that you have a good team and structure around you; and an environment, making sure that you are taking care of yourself, of your business, and your team. Whether or not you show up to do these things. And so that is going to be the key term here. And so what I see happen very often is some people might have their systems and clients, environment and leverage dialed in. They have team, they have good connections and relationships, healthy habits, they have SOPs, standard operating procedures, they have a good client process and they're getting consistent client results. But then acquisition, marketing and sales is heavily reliant on the business owner, because they're the face of the company and they're the ones that market their services and they're the ones that post on social media. And so if they get sick or something happens and they don't show up for 30 days, growth stalls. And that's not good. And so if you are missing one piece of this scale framework, you're risking your business. The challenge is discerning which piece you need to work at right now and improve, because you can't do this all at once. Again, this is not an overnight process. This takes time. Clients work with me for months, for years on this. And as you go up the ladder, it's a continual process. That's why this is a cycle. You'll go through the cycle multiple times as you hit every level, continually removing yourself more and more and more from this process, from the inner workings of your business and from being responsible for everything. Because right now you're probably chained to your business. Your business probably runs when you show up and stops running when you don't show up. So getting clear on your strongest and weakest and where you need to improve. This is beginning the process of analyzing your business and making a decision to focus on scaling your business. And so going back to the worksheet, rate yourself. Rate yourself on systems. Rate yourself on clients. So systems, how do you feel about your current systems, SOPs, tools, technology? Clients, how do you feel about your client process, your onboarding, client results? How do you feel about your acquisition? Are you getting consistent leads and sales? Would you be able to if you didn't show up? Would you be able to do any of these if you didn't show up? How is your team? Do you even have a team? Does your team come to you for all the questions? Or are they self-reliant and do they take ownership of their role and their responsibilities? Environment. Are there healthy habits, or are you working weekends? Are you working late nights? Are you only sleeping 3 hours a day? Are you not eating at all because you need to work on your business? Or are you traveling and enjoying your lifestyle and taking care of yourself? Like, I hired my chef, I hired cleaners, I live in my dream apartment. This was important. You cannot leave this out in your business, because if your lifestyle is failing, your business will fail too. And then circle the ones that you think you need to improve, and then write them out here. What is your strongest area? What is your weakest area? And which structures do you need to improve immediately? And so it's not that hard. You just need to follow this framework. And so we've determined where you're at on the freedom ladder. We've scored your business structures using the scale framework. And if you haven't already, please pause this video and do this. It's really important. You need to identify which are your strongest, weakest, and most needed areas of improvement. And now you need to commit to your next steps. You probably know what you need to do. Is it doing research in a specific area? Is it hiring a key mentor or consultant? Maybe it's firing team members that are holding you back in an area, or maybe adding team members to your company. You probably have a few ideas, so jot them down in the answer section. And then go back to the section, the Freedom Ladder section, and determine your next step. If you're an exponential, your next step is probably expand. And so jot down some ideas, color it in, put a check mark. You could do whatever you want in this little graph. But then journal on these. What's the cost of not improving your current business structures? And what specifically are you going to do to reach your next level? And what's that payoff? What's the payoff of improving your business structures? Spend 5 minutes journaling this. Pause the video if you have to. And then, can you commit to doing this? Can you commit for yourself right now, for your clients, for your audience, for your team members? Can you commit that you'll take immediate action on this? And I challenge you to do it right now. Just take 10 minutes, make a phone call, write a job description, research a specific tool, outline your client process. Spend 10 minutes doing that right now. Pause this video again. This is the work. And if there's one thing that I want to leave you with, is this. Prioritize doing this every day. Look at the scorecard every single day, first thing in the morning. Do one thing every day to set yourself up for long-term success and sustainability and scalability. It's not hard. People just choose not to do it, and then it's too late. I guarantee you that when you focus on the scale framework, you can build a business that gives you freedom. Yeah, I know that increasing your revenue is all great, but not when you're sacrificing your time and your profit. And not when you're sacrificing long work hours into the night and feeling overwhelmed and burnt out. And definitely not when you're making mistakes that cost you time and money. Build something that lasts. Build a business that you can confidently say, it's running without me on autopilot, and it's working, and it's growing. Where I can give you 100 clients today, and you can easily provide a high quality, reliable service to each of those clients every single day. And I know that sounds like too crazy or too good to be true, but it is possible. And this is what I help my clients with, and they are shocked. It's such an amazing transition to watch them go from overwhelmed and burnt out to, like, I can't even explain it. They can't even explain it in words. Jaden posted this after the 7-Figure Freedom Accelerator in-person event that we did. I took everyone out to eat a lot of food. That's why he mentioned gaining 15 pounds. But the reason he got started in business was for freedom, and that week represented that perfectly for him. And he also mentioned it's so easy to get caught up in being busy that we forget why we started in the first place. You can enjoy your life and have fun in the process of growing your business. This doesn't have to be all work and no play. Build a business where you can take care of yourself and travel to amazing places and eat good food and spend time with friends and family you love. And disconnect from the laptop. I know I love working. By the way, this is like a Sunday night. It's 10:30 p.m. for me right now as I'm recording this. I love my work. And yes, I'm going to work on a Sunday night on this because it's really important to me. But you know what I did this morning? I think I got out of bed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And the sun sets at 5:30. So I laid in bed all day with my boyfriend, watching videos on the iPad, talking, just hanging out and relaxing, enjoying my Sunday morning. With the floor-to-ceiling window view, I can see Stone Mountain from here. I enjoyed my day and I did what I wanted. And then I got up, brushed my teeth at 4 in the afternoon because I literally was still in PJs. And then I worked on this outline and finished these PowerPoint slides and got here and recorded it. And I'm probably going to go to bed after this. Probably at 11, which is usually when I go to sleep. And so here's what I want you to do. Take just 30 minutes per day, first thing in the morning, put it on your calendar and work on this. Work on setting up systems that will scale your business. Work on setting up business structures that are sustainable. Now you know what that actually means. Now you know what that looks like. And you have the framework to use to determine what specifically you need. And if you need help with that, just don't hesitate to reach out. I can point you in the right direction. But it's time for you to truly build a profitable business that impacts millions of lives and gives you what you deserve. The freedom, the joy, the peace of mind. So go out there and take action, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.